squaddies. How is everyone? Just give me the thumbs up that you can hear me. Hey Tara Lover, hey Patricia Nixon, Clark, Miss Viv, Gwendolyn, Maria, Thomas. Thank you all for joining me. Right, let's turn this music down first of all. All right, let's get into it. How are we all? Been away for a few days. No major news, but a couple of interesting updates. And we're going to laugh a bit today because really, what is going on in this world? What is going on in this world, squaddies? Harry's trip to Ukraine was wonderful. He was just so well received. And no surprises because Invictus is just doing such amazing things. All right, let me just open. There we go. And we've still got the MasterChef episode coming up, you know? We've still got the MasterChef episode to come. By the way, Meghan sent out PR boxes. And somebody actually transcribed her handwriting. Sorry, I actually don't have I don't think I have the pictures, do I? Yeah. But I will read out. Y'all know what the Azava candles look like. Let me just read out the transcribed note. It says, with compliments of as ever, a few gifts to share as we celebrate Mother's Day. First, the newest additions to the As Ever signature candle collection 506 and 604, named after our children's birthdays, inspired by each of them. I developed these scents over the last year so that every note melded together to take me right back to a special memory with them. I can light this candle, close my eyes, and I'm right there. Afternoons in the garden picking flowers of lily, the coziest nights snuggled up with Archie, the memorable moments of motherhood. We've also tucked in some luxurious chocolates made with our friends at Compartes, this time especially for Mother's Day. Enjoy every bite. I hope that wherever you are and whoever you're with, that you're feeling loved and celebrated. Thank you for welcoming as ever into your homes and for allowing us not just to be part of your moments, but to be part of your memories. And you know, scent does play a massive part in our memories. And it's incredible to see how Meghan is developing her line. Also, not surprising at all to me, actually, but Meghan is an astrology girly. Meghan is an astrology girly, and she reposted some interesting posts on Instagram on her stories. Now, Meghan is a Leo. She was born on August 4th. And Leos are often described as confident, passionate, natural leaders. Leos are often, traits that are often associated with Leos. And she posted this astrology post in reference to a 7-year cycle that Leos and other fire and air signs have been going through. So I believe my sign, Scorpio, also, and I think Tauros have also been going through. Yeah, Tauros and Aquarius have also been going through this trine, for those of us that follow or are interested in astrology. So she posted this: the tension between who you actually are and what the world around you was willing to see has been exhausting in a way that it's hard to explain to people who have not lived it. Your confidence took its hits it had no business taking. You question your creative direction, your spotlight, your worth. April 25th, the pressure lifts. You get the space to just exist without fighting for it. And also these other guys that had posted Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius ending the hardest 7 years of their lives on April 25th. Now, I mean, we can very obviously see how that would line up with Meghan's life, honey. Very obviously, we can see what that is referencing, who that is referencing, and for sure, you know, that it says the tension between who you actually are and what the world around you is willing to see has been exhausting in a way that is hard to explain to people. Your confidence took hits it had no business taking. You questioned your creative direction. I feel that for myself very much, for my sign and the period of, you know, the last 6 to 7 years for myself as well. Maybe I'll explain it in detail in another day, but I had something very, very interesting to me happen. But y'all know that I had an incident last time I was in Bali, and interestingly enough, the person who was involved in this incident, I've been here since November. I have not seen them once, and I actually saw them and their friend, who's been somewhat of a silent co-conspirator in all of this, last week. And all I'll say is that I felt like it was almost like a sign for the gods that I saw them on this particular day. I'm not going to say why it was interesting that I saw them on this particular day, but having been here since November, I just found it interesting that I hadn't seen them until this point. And Bali is a small place. It's not difficult to bump into people. But sometimes, you know, when you just feel like the universe is sending you a message, that's what it felt like to me. Anywho, yeah, a lot of people were just surprised. Meghan tends to like post Sunday updates and, you know, cute little things. And then when she goes somewhere, like when she went to Paris and Australia, like rundowns of what happened, you know, behind the scenes stuff. So this was just a very different post. But if anything, I'm glad that she feels that a very difficult point in her life is starting to round up. And I feel that as well. I think that the worst of the smear campaign is gone. I think that those who have been driving it are losing steam. And it's interesting, this also coincides with the way in which the British media covered Harry and Meghan's tour and the way the Australian media, even with the influence of Murdoch, covered Harry and Meghan's tour. The difference is just so jarring, and I think it has really opened a lot of people's eyes. Yeah, Leo Gerbos. Indeed. Yeah, and that's the other thing. Absolutely, Sean Jones. You've said it right there. What is there left to say about her that the UK tabloids haven't already said? They just make up the same nonsense in a cycle over and over again because they're trying to convince, first of all, themselves, because they've been lying to themselves from day one. So they're trying to convince themselves that their lies are the truth. And they're trying to convince their stupid audience that believes the lies, that the lies were true. when every single time Meghan steps out the house, it's very obvious that it was all a lie. And they are, I think at this point, what they're terrified of, and when I say they, I'm talking the media and the palace, what they're terrified of is the people who ate up all the lies suddenly realizing they've been fooled. That's what they're scared about. Anywho, there was that. Now, I just want to touch on this because, seriously, folks, what's going on? Now we're faking assassinations because we want a ballroom. I don't know about you, but my tinfoil hat is on. And I just don't. Somebody told me that this is Donald Trump's fourth failed assassination attempt. I thought that this was just the second. I haven't really been keeping up too much with this administration. It was something that I promised myself after last time he was in office. So I didn't know that this is the fourth. Is that correct? And then apparently this has been happening every single time the approval ratings dropped. And now they're even using bots online to try and drive a narrative. So as soon as this whole shooting at the White House Correspondents' Dinner happened, bots were unleashed. This is why we need Trump's ballroom. Now you know why the left is suing to block Trump's privately funded White House ballroom. This administration and what they're doing has taken on such new levels of ridiculousness. I don't even know what to say anymore. On the one hand, you've got this rather ridiculous and comedic obsession with building a ballroom. On the other hand, they're sending the troops and the bombs to bomb other countries. Like, what is going on? And then I believe that everybody in that ballroom knew that this was a joke. You had journalists, and I say that with a small J, swiping alcohol from the tables, moving rather slowly to grab bottles of wine. And as people are rightly saying online, they're questioning everything. One person said they blew Kennedy's head off from hundreds meters away, and while he was moving inside a car, but for whatever reason, there's no way to land a hit on octogenarian moron with less mobility than a plaster cat, who's bright orange, by the way. Trump has skipped every correspondence dinner across his presidencies. I didn't know that, except this one, and all of a sudden there's a shooter in the lobby. Okay. The same Secret Service that kept the first black president alive for 8 years apparently has not been able to foil 4 different assassination attempts. Is the CIA on a budget, or is something fishy going on? And then if you actually watch the videos of what was going on in the ballroom when this so-called shooting happened, it was just so weird. A lot of the men in that room, the conservative men, were running away before even checking on their other halves. One of them, Stephen Miller, that phantom follicle troll, had his pregnant wife in front of him and was running away. Even though they probably all knew this was going to happen. They couldn't even fake being concerned for their wives and girlfriends. Pathetic. And this is a trend with these MAGA men. Walking away from their wives and girlfriends, because they're just their wives and girlfriends are just they're just there as accessories and tools. That's it. Truly pathetic. These are the people that keep yelling at you about traditional values. Yes. Oi. Apparently Charles and Camilla sent their thoughts and prayers. I mean, if this is fake, and I'm sorry, but I believe it was. I'm sorry. I've got my tinfoil hat, folks. This is on the heels of a state visit. It doesn't look good on the Trump administration at all. Nothing looks good on them, of course. They've done nothing good. But you're showing how lax your security is. So Charles and Camilla privately reached out to President Trump and the First Lady after the shooting incident last night. The King and Queen will meet Donald and Melania tomorrow in Washington. I mean, I hope they got security down. Oh, this state visit's going to be a disaster. An absolute disaster. And the contrast between Charles going for a state visit to see Trump and Harry in Ukraine, literally being a whole statesman, being rather kingly, if I may say so myself, and bringing attention to things that we should be focusing on, and doing impactful work, because we never show up empty-handed. And you've got his father going to meet an orange monster who is allegedly organizing fake assassinations because his approval ratings, even with his own base, are down. What's going on, folks? What is going on? Up is down, down is up. We're faking assassinations now. Don't know what to say. Let's see what you lot are saying in the comment section. Because I don't know what to say. I'm not often lost for words. Electrostormy said, I was stunned to see Stephen's wife pregnant. I thought she ran off with Elon Musk. She's probably pregnant with Elon's baby. These people are weird. You know, in the animal kingdom, when you've got a pack that is being run by, you know, idiots in the pack, and this goes for any group of animals, the animals get rid of poor leaders. What do humans do? We allow a small group of people to run amok. There's 8 billion of us. There's a couple hundred of them. Oh, I know all about this. This guy, this crazy loon. Yeah, I know all about him. Trump would do anything to get that ballroom, which I don't think would happen. I mean, why are we obsessing over a ballroom? You're obsessing over a ballroom while homelessness is all over the place in the US. Got homeless encampments popping up everywhere. Electric, so they landed today and met with Trump and Melania. No people on the street. I live in DC. We don't care. I mean, I can imagine the only reason people would show up was to protest. But you've been protesting very well, so I mean, they had the second largest protest in the US recently. The Petit Charles and his horse are already here, and he and Trump are supposed to do a joint speech for Congress. Trump has destroyed the White House. I mean, destroying a historic building like that is just so shameful. Yeah, a ballroom. That's literally what it is. BAAL room, a ballroom. For devilish worshipping. That's what it is, lovely Shay. If that's what you actually meant. I don't know if that was a misspelling, but yeah, BAAL, as in the devil, Baal himself. That's what it is. A devil worshipping room. Yeah, the Mary Antoinette administration. The ballroom is a cover for a glorified bunker that is not approved by Congress. I mean, they could actually build bunkers anywhere if they wanted to. It would be a bit weird to actually build a bunker right underneath the White House. Because if somebody wanted to nuke the White House, well, they'd nuke the White House and the bunker. So it would actually be smarter to go build it in the Rocky Mountains somewhere. Americans need health care. And he just wants to play king. Lovely Shay, yeah, that is what you meant. I thought so. It's like, yeah, the ballroom. Oh gosh, I don't even know anymore. Okay, let's get on to the next thing. Let's go back to back to our royals. I will cover I will cover the state visit later on. Now, apparently, William and Kate are planning some kind of revenge tour of Australia. Now, let's just remind ourselves what happened last time William and Kate were on a tour, an overseas tour, where they decided to do colonizer cosplay and run around on jeeps. You know, when Harry and Meghan announced that they were going to Australia, they were probably inundated with appearance requests. And parts of the tour were likely just, built. I mean, they would have had their main things that they want to do, but parts of the tour were likely built around that. And the reason their visit looked like a royal tour, but I'm no longer going to be calling Harry and Meghan's tours royal tours, because I just don't think that other royals deserve any of their shine, is because they did several events which looked like something the royals would have done, but with more impact. So while Charles and Camilla visited Australia in the fall of 2004, so it's 2024, William and Kate have not visited in over a decade, since 2014. They've had plenty of opportunity to visit one of the largest and most significant Commonwealth realms, but William and Kate have repeatedly refused. Now that Harry and Meghan went to Australia and paid for the trip out of their own pocket, the pressure is building for William and Kate to visit their future realm. Do you know what? I don't think the pressure needs to build. Because to be honest, if you're not going in there to do anything useful, you're just going there to show up. Don't go. They are seething with jealousy over Harry and Meghan. Well, one Australian tabloid claims that William and Kate are determined to go to Australia at some point. Maybe. When William and Kate warmly interacted with members of the public at an event to honour the Queen and her 100th birthday at Buckingham Palace, a palace insider caught wind of an idea. It also signalled their importance as senior working royals. Such importance, but when Kate showed up at an event recently, there was nobody there, other than the tourists that usually go to Westminster Abbey. But following the Duke and Duchesses of Sussex's recent quasi-royal tour of Australia, calls have increased for William and Kate to display some of that warmth themselves. On an official visit to our shores, the couple received a great reception when they were here last in 2014, accompanied by then baby Prince George. And you know what? Taking baby Prince George was likely a huge part of why people were so excited to see them. But this was also not too long after they were married. So the royal shine and excitement was still there. They've squandered it. They've squandered it completely. So to be honest, it wouldn't surprise me if we did see William and Kate go and take the whole family. It wouldn't surprise me. A whole revenge tour. And it's just two lazy 40-somethings getting off their asses and doing their jobs. Which they should have been doing for the past 15 years. You know, what's left unsaid, or what was left unsaid during Harry and Meghan's tour as well, is that they are literally just making William and Kate look like bums. Harry and Meghan were greeted with such enthusiasm, and they were welcomed as they took on these royal style engagements. And all of that is just in such sharp contrast to William and Kate's meager schedules and their refusal to undertake royal tours since the 2022 Caribbean flop tour. The contrast is insane. And to be honest, at this point, what would anybody want to see William and Kate for? A picture for the gram? A picture for the gram. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that tour. Also, Tatler have decided to do this cover story of William and give him one too many follicles. William's follicles are phantom. So why have Tatler given him 100 more follicles than he has on that head? What's going on here? Tatler commissioned this portrait of Prince William. Yes, lovely shade. The royal shine is dull at this point. And Kate still doesn't have a new stylist. I honestly think Australians would boo them and ask about Andrew. That's exactly what would happen. Where was William at this event? That's a good question, actually. I don't know. Maybe he just decided, I'm not going to do this appearance. I think it was for some kind of like Indigenous People Day. TV Orgy said, too bad that Willie and Kate don't get paid by the hours they work. They are horrifically overpaid. Horrifically overpaid. Yeah, they colored it in. It's an AI toupee. Oh, you lot are hilarious. Okay, let me read this. It says, this is from Celebrity. I judge royal portraits on a sliding scale, or maybe I just enjoy debating whether artists actually capture the essence of certain royals. Jonathan Yuo's bloody portrait of King Charles is a masterpiece and possibly the peak of royal portrait painting. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think that that bloody portrait of Charles is one of the best portraits I've ever seen, simply because it really encapsulates Charles's spirit and the spirit of the monarchy at this time. I truly think it's a brilliant portrait. Not because I think Charles is brilliant, but because of what that artist captured in that portrait. I'd be interested to hear what that artist had to say about his work in private. So Paul Emsley's portrait of Princess Kate was also notable for making Kate look like a bee wiglet ghost haunting all of Britain. In recent years, Tatler has gotten into the people like to talk about royal portraits game in a big way. So the magazine has commissioned a series of portraits for their covers. In 2024, they commissioned a Kate portrait where the artist made her look like Minka Kelly. Art critics really despised it. Well, there was one portrait that they did of Kate that's never seen the light of day again. Well, Tatler recently commissioned Nigerian artist Oluwole Omofemi to paint a portrait of Prince William, and Tatler put it on the cover. Our Nigerian sis was nice enough to give him more hair. You know, I actually think that she managed to capture something in William's eyes, but I think kind of like the half smirk doesn't quite capture him fully, unless you could say it's hiding a lot. The smirk is hiding a lot. I think the eyes have it in this portrait. Definitely not the hair, the Turkish hair transplant that shouldn't be there. My first thought was, is that really supposed to be William, or is it secretly supposed to be Lord Frederick Windsor, son of Prince Michael and Princess Michael of Kent? It actually looks more like Frederick Windsor than William, to be honest, if you've seen what Frederick Windsor looks like. It actually does look more like him. Many have commented on Frederick and William's resemblance, so it's not that off base, meaning You can tell who this portrait is supposed to be in a general way, either William or Frederick. Take your pick. The sad truth is that neither William or Frederick has that much hair left. Omafemi was really generous with how much he did with William's hair. The shadow falling on William's face is interesting too. It definitely adds an extra element of ghoulishness. Yeah, I feel like it's capturing the emotion of William is being captured here. Just not the follicles on his head. They've been artificially added for sure. Generously added. Now, the cover story was actually about the artist and not William. And that's fine. Probably better and more interesting. Tatler can be very shady about the royals sometimes, but it can also kiss their ass. It's quite interesting that they chose not to barf about some future king BS. Or maybe they just haven't got to that article yet. Anyway, shout out to the Nigerian artist that got commissioned for this. Happy anytime my people get paid. Also looking a little bit like Stephen Miller, you know. Oh, you're saying that William stayed at home with a headache. That's why he didn't come to this event with Kate. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Kate's wardrobe. I'm not even kidding. She could go to Primark, one of Britain's cheapest high street stores, and get a better wardrobe. In fact, I think they should call somebody at Primark and get a stylist to dress her. I'm not even kidding. Primark, if you want to go a little bit more further up market, even Zara. If she dressed in nothing but Zara, she would still look more stylish. I'm telling you, if you're not lying, Lottie, if William and Kate went to Australia, you would literally see Kate in the same wardrobe that Meghan was wearing. Would not surprise me one bit. Yes, Mina, I'm talking about the red painting of Petty Charles, the devil picture. That, in my opinion, is one of the best royal portrait I've ever seen, because it captured Charles's devilish spirit. The red, the way it molded into, I think there was a little bit of symbolism, with those like butterflies in it and stuff. Yeah, there's like a shadowy look to William in this photo for sure. Folks, I don't even think we've seen the beginning of what could come out about these people. Especially once Charles is gone and William's king. I'm telling you, the British tabloids, they're waiting in the wings. Okay. Claudette, you said William and Kate should just stop going on tours. They are not charming enough and are boring. I mean, I feel like they made the decision after the Caribbean tour. And given how strained their marriage is, I don't think they would want to have to spend that much time together and doing public events. I don't think they'd want to do that. All right. One more thing I wanted to cover. Sarah Ferguson. Now, Sarah had gone missing for months, popped up. There were rumors of her popping up in different places, perhaps a ski resort in Switzerland, a resort in Ireland. Now she popped up in Austria. Who's paying for her? We don't know. And apparently, she wants to move. So Sarah Ferguson is desperate to leave Austria and wants to hide out somewhere else. So she disappeared for more than 4 months, and her disappearance was extremely convenient, given the release of the Epstein files, where people could see Sarah's long-running conversations with Epstein. Let me just... Have I got a picture? Never mind. We don't need to see Sarah's face anyway. Let's look at Megan's while I read this article out. So obviously her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, was also arrested during those missing months. We still no updates on Andrew, by the way. Like, that story was just buried. So then the Sun got exclusive photos of Sarah outside of an Austrian resort, where she's apparently been staying for the better part of those missing 4 months. Everything about Sarah's disappearing act and her lack of public comment said to me that Sarah is scared and she wisely wanted to stay as hidden as possible. Now that her Austrian bolt hole has been exposed, the Daily Mail says Sarah is trying to disappear again. I mean, she doesn't really have to be scared in terms of... No, it's not like anyone's protesting or running down Buckingham Palace to like overthrow the royals. So I don't think she has to be scared in that regard. I think where her fear is where she's going to get her money next. I was going to be real messy right there and say she should start an OnlyFans, but let me stop. No, but seriously, maybe she should start an OnlyFans. Some people would pay for that, you know. She could join the, what do they call it in the US? The OnlyFans girls? The Bop House. Sarah should go join the Bop House. Crazy clicks and views. That would get them crazy clicks and views. According to sources, Sarah barely left her first floor 2-bedroom chalet overlooking the stunningly beautiful lake since checking in nearly a month ago. And she was never seen on the large balcony. She ordered all her meals via room service. And she was never seen on the resort's walking trails or down by the lake or its clay tennis courts. Her contact with the outside world was kept to the bare minimum. Although she had her hair done on March 24th by a visiting stylist. Sources say Fergie has remained in constant touch with her daughters, while both of them have been increasingly concerned over her mental health. How on earth she's managing to fund her stay is a source of mystery. The co-owners of the spa, formerly known as Vivian Mai, Natasha Summer, and Dr. Dieter Risch, have known Sarah since she stayed there in 2023, recovering from breast cancer. It's believed that Samaima herself, the daughter of the late industrialist and former Austrian Vice Chancellor Hans Andorsch, bonded with Fergie during that stay and was grateful for the publicity she brought to the clinic in interviews and social media. So that's probably how she's, been able to get a free ride. Sarah recorded a fulsome promotional video for the resort, praising it as a safe place and sanctuary, and probably one of the only places in the world where she can just be Sarah. But how long are they going to let her stay there? Some say that Fergie still has no shortage of rich friends rallying behind her at her time of need. But yesterday, rumours of another possible source of income was suggested by royal expert Tom Sykes in the Daily Beast, a sensational deal for a warts and all book about her association with Epstein. But even if she's given that money, we know how she spends that money. Sarah should write a tell-all. Well, apparently this is what they're saying. But who's going to read it? If they release that tell-all, I will put it into ChatGPT and ask it to give me a summary. I'm not reading that. And it's like we already know half of this stuff through the Epstein email. So what else is there for us to know? It's going to have to be pretty explosive for them to give her a lot of money. OnlyFans for grannies. Ugh. There will be people that will want to see that, and it's not grannies. People have all sorts of weird fetishes. Or should I say men have all sorts of weird fetishes, because most of the customers on OnlyFans are guys. She will pass out info on William to divert her. Yeah. If she wants a big deal, and if she wants people to actually read this book, she will have to throw the other royals under the bus. There's nothing that Sarah Ferguson is going to tell me about Andrew that would surprise me or make me want to buy that book. We've literally seen pictures of him rolling around the palace floor with a toddler that was playing with a boob toy, and rolling around the floor with what looked like a teenage girl. And we've read the emails. So whatever else she has to say, it has to be about the other royals. I don't think there's anything newsworthy that Fergie could give me about Andrew. I saw a picture of Andrew on the floor with a toddler. A picture I'll never be able to unsee. We already know what and who these sick people are. But you know what? We still don't have a full picture on, but we can make some guesses what's been going on in William and Kate's house. What's been going on with Charles. And, you know, Charles has seemingly come out of this whole Epstein thing rather unscathed. That doesn't mean there aren't some other skeletons in the closet, honey. Fergie was there during the Diana years. Yeah, give us some info on the Diana years, Fergie. If I was a publisher, yeah, I would give you money for that. Give me some more juice about Charles and them courtiers. She could monetize her time. I'm not even kidding. She actually could. Isn't Lily Allen making like $5,000 a month? Just from like selling foot picks or something? There would definitely be some people who would pay for some Fergie OnlyFans content. For the humiliation part of it. For sure. She might have to consider. Joan, are the UK tabloids even writing any articles about Andrew these days? No, pretty much from the time the war in Iran started, that got taken out of the news cycle. I mean, I haven't. What's even on Sky News? Because I tried to avoid mainstream media, but I don't really know what they're reporting on in the UK, to be honest. I'm all the way on the other side of the planet, and I'm not trying to stress myself. Okay, so they're talking about whether or not Kai Sama will face a probe. Tricky political situation behind the king. Well, I guess this week it's all going to be about the king's visit. Oh, here I can see the pictures of him and Melania and Trump. They're all sitting on a table. UK restricting social media for under 16s, following in the footsteps of Australia, I guess. Landmark domestic abuse suicide case. Iran. Trump's calls for Jimmy Kimmel to be sacked after Melania joke. Yeah, so there's literally nothing on this front page about Andrew. Even if I let me actually just Google Prince Andrew. If there's any updates on the police. No, literally no updates. Former Prince Andrew refuses to leave home. The last updates are that Andrew's refusing to leave his home. Now, where Andrew's going to go, I don't know. The homeless shelters in the UK are full. They're putting people on the floor to sleep at night in churches. So I don't know where Andrew's going to go. He'll be out on the streets. But yeah, that story has disappeared completely. Not a word. What does that tell you? All right, folks. We'll see how the day goes. I've moved into my new place, thank goodness. I wasn't meant to move until like the 4th, but I just had to get out of that place. Bloody rooster screaming. I don't know. I actually don't know how I survived for the last few months. It only started to irritate me recently because I want to start to film more stuff for social. And there's just too many problems at that house. But the new place I'm in, It's small, it's cozy, and it has everything that I need. And I think it will just also make me more productive to be here. And yes, it is still coming. Don't worry, I have not forgotten. I will be giving you an update on my candle line. Once I've unpacked all of my stuff. There's actually quite a few updates, and I'm meeting with someone today, a business coach, to help me with the next steps. But I will be giving you an update on that. There is a wish list going on my Buy Me a Coffee for the last phase of my candle line, by the way. But I didn't really want to talk about that until I've given you a proper update. But yeah, I will post it if you want to donate to that. Up to you, folks. Never want to put any pressure on my audience. But I hope to have a really cool update for you some point this week. I have been doing a lot of work, and thank you to everyone who did donate last time and who have, donated so far to that. Let's just end with your comments and then we will wrap things up for now. There are no roosters at the new place. None. Absolutely none. I made sure of it. I'm actually on the last place that I was, it was a more local place. And so yeah, that's why I had like 4 neighbors of roosters. Where I am now, it's basically the almost like the other side of the island. And it's more like, I wouldn't say it's touristy here, but it's more residential, and there's more like where expats have built a lot of residences here. So it's just a lot more quiet and chill. Girl Lewis, she said Andrew will end up living in the east somewhere after everything settles down. Yeah, I think they're just hoping that people will forget. And to be honest, people have a short-term memory, they probably will. TV order. I'm still in Bali. I've just moved to a different part of the island. That's all. I've just moved to a different part of the island. I'm gonna be here for a while. Like I'm doing my best to get this line off the ground. And I'm here on an entrepreneurship visa, and I don't have to renew my visa until July. So hopefully by that time, actually, I would have gotten all of the samples done. With your help, it will help get that done faster. And then I can start reaching out to the handful of potential investors who I hope to basically get this over the finishing line. That'll be the last thing. Like samples, I've got new samples done because I had to switch manufacturers again. So hopefully these samples will be what I want them to be. And then once that's done, it's a case of going around to all of the retailers here, seeing if they're interested. And then if they are interested, then the next step will be, well, I'll have to actually do a company formation, because I can, on the entrepreneurship visa, you can inquire about business, you can get samples made, stuff like that. You cannot sell. That's one thing I cannot do on an entrepreneurship visa. So then it would be like company formation, all of that stuff. But that will come with whether or not I can get investors and whether or not retailers here in Bali are interested in my product. So I'll explain all of this when I do an update video. But for now, that'll be all. Thank you so much as always, folks. Appreciate you so much. And yeah, we will be back later with state visit updates. With state visit updates. And we'll see how that goes. They're probably going to try their best to make sure it goes smoothly, to make sure that Trump doesn't do anything stupid. They made sure to give him a big steak dinner last night. Golden leaf steak dinner to make sure he behaves himself. All right, we'll catch up later. Ciao.